We'll get back to you with a free evaluation of your credentials and qualifications to know whether you are qualified for the course that you want to study, or if you are not qualified, we'll also give you some counsel on what you can do, other options that you may want to consider and all that. Sometimes we do have people who ask us, this is my qualification, maybe you didn't pass well, you had a third class or a low 2-2, or you had an HND. People do ask once in a while, am I qualified with this? Yes, everyone has an opportunity, so it's not going to stop you. Your qualification won't stop you. The only thing is, when we look at your credentials, sometimes we may have to present them to specific universities and ask them, see the situation of this person, what can you offer? And then that's something that we will do for you, and it's usually free. So, and then after that, if you want us to go on the journey with you, that's after the evaluation of your credentials, we will both agree on that, and then we'll feed your data into our system. We filter that based on your preferences for tuition, living expenses, country of study. So many, you may give us as many reasons or as many conditions as you want for where you want to study. We feed everything into the system, and then it returns results that are specifically customized for you. Then we make recommendations on programs and schools to you. Then you make your choice. We make application for you, and when your offer comes in, if your university requires it, then we let you know. You pay your tuition deposit, and then you move on from there. So these are all the things that you need to do. I'm having an issue here with someone trying to request control of my screen, so in and out. So then I'll just go quickly to announcements there. As you can see there are a few open scholarships. Like you do this to fulfill our promise to you that whenever we have opportunities that are open somewhere that we find, we will always let you know. So these are all open opportunities for now. On the left are just scholarships, while on the right we have postdoc fellowships there. So if you have a PhD and you want to also go abroad, it's postdoc is actually considered like you're still studying, even though you are supposed to be going into an independent researcher. But if you are newly graduated from your PhD program and you want to do a postdoc program, these are all opportunities that you can explore. And the one on the left is they are open scholarship. MIS and MTCP are scholarships in Malaysia. They are fully funded scholarships. If you qualify, you can check online. And then there is a tuition-free foundation program that is available from one of our Malaysian partners. It's open to all Africans except Nigerians. Sorry about that. And it covers every course. So, but there are some terms and conditions that you have to fulfill. So if you are interested in a foundation program, or your child is interested, you can reach out to us through the WhatsApp number or email to get more information about this. There is also another 50% tuition discount that is available for all levels of study and all courses with one of our Malaysian partners too. Minimum CGPA is 2.5 if you are going for a postgraduate program, and at least 3 passes for undergraduate applicants. You can also reach out to RO's office for more information about this too. And the more announcements, there are current intakes. So right now, many of our university partners are accepting applications for September 2023. That's almost closed for most of them. January 2024, for some of them, this is even already closed. And then April, May, and September 2024. So don't think that it's too early to apply because you want to go in 2024. The spots actually get filled up very quickly. So you need to start early and you need to start now. On our next webinar session, where our professional roundtable is going to be with the well engineer. So if that's your interest, I think it's something that you could make yourself available to take advantage of. And on the same day, we're going to be talking about funding your study with student loan. Sorry, that's loan, not load. So funding your study with student loan, how you can access student loan without collateral and all that. So we've been working on this for some time. We've been discussing, and by next webinar, we should have very detailed information for you. Because this has been, I think funding has been one of the biggest issues that people have had when it comes to the opportunity to go abroad. Not everyone can access scholarship from home. Not everyone comes from a family where the family can afford to sponsor you, but every one of us can afford to study with a loan and be ready to pay back after your study. So that's what we have been working on, and then we now have some information for you, something that you can access. And this is more information about that. You can take up to $2,000, $100,000. Interest rate is fixed. You don't need the collateral. You don't need any prepayment, and you can use this scholarship to study in any of the over 400 universities and colleges in US or Canada that is covered by this loan. And then you can also have your own part of your funding. So it doesn't mean that you have to take everything 100%. But if you don't have any and you want 100% funding, you can also get that. And there are a few, if you study in the US,
Boarding in progress.
You can use this loan to fund both your tuition and living expenses. If you're studying in Canada, it will only cover your tuition. That means you have to take care of your living expense. And if you use this kind of facility, it will also help you to build your US credit history, which could be something positive for you in the future. So on the webinar today, we are having on the professional roundtable with Mr. David Chibukeme Eroto. He is an accountant turned movie producer, and he's going to be speaking to us on different kinds of opportunities that are available in the movie industry. I know that a few participants who have reached out to me, this is their area of interest. Some parents have kids, this is what they are interested in. So today you'll be able to ask your questions and get answers to them, clarify your confusion and all that. So I think it will be an enriching session today. So I'm going to pin Mr. Eroto on my screen. Let me stop sharing my screen. So that's Mr. David. I'm going to introduce him briefly, then I will let him make his presentation. Mr. Eroto is an accountant turned movie producer. He's a business development professional, and he's very passionate about storytelling, and especially stories that inspire positive changes in values and attitudes. He's a graduate of Bayero University, Kano, where he studied accounting, and he has worked and still works as a financial consultant with many organizations within and outside the media industry. He started his career as a theater coordinator in his home church in 2002 and produced several stage dramas that involve coordinating a large number of casts and crew. He's also the brain behind the NYSC Talent Hunt show, which has been running annually for over 10 years. The show seeks to identify young media talent in NYSC camps through an intensive competition, after which the winners are provided with financial and technical support to grow their talents in media and entertainment. So if you fall in that group, maybe that could be something for you to look out for. He has consulted for numerous development agencies, the producer impact documentaries that highlight different social issues within the country. He has also worked on a number of huge film projects, including Nneka, The Pretty Serpent, Rattlesnake, My Village People, and his most recent work is the Netflix movie titled Lockdown. That movie features, Peter Okoye, that's P Square, and a number of top Nollywood actors like Omotola, Shola Shobowale, Tony Umez, and others. The movie is a tribute to the frontliners who risked their lives during the COVID pandemic outbreak. And if you have not watched it, please go and watch it. I have. Mr. Eroto has been trained at home and abroad, and he has been under the tutelage of people like T. Fair Griffin, a 3-time Emmy Award winner. Outside of his roles as a producer, he's a business development professional. He provides financial and management consultancy services to various NGOs and works with businesses to develop sustainable structures and systems. So thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, Mr. David. We are very happy to have you on the table, and we are looking forward to an inspiring and educative session with you. Mr. David will be sharing with us about his experience. So I have like a million questions to ask, but I will let him say hello to the audience first. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Let me also add good evening. As has been introduced, my name is David. I'm many things, and one of it is a filmmaker. I'll just also highlight. Actually, I studied chemistry in school. That's the funny thing. So my BSc was chemistry, and I'd lost my dad as a teenager just before gaining admission. And so I was interning with my dad. My dad was a chartered accountant. My dad was running an accounting firm. So I was interning with him as at the time he passed. So technically the mantle to manage the firm fell on me when he passed. So I started the accounting journey. So I was in school, I was running accounting. So at one point I went to meet the HOD of accounting, who was my dad's friend. I wanted to switch to accounting because I feel that it aligns more to me. But he said it's too late. I should just go ahead with the BSc and all that. So I had the science background. I was practicing accounting. I was all over the place in the school. And so that's what took me to accounting. Of course, accounting now became something that I followed through with eventually. So I received a series of questions. I don't know if we will go with the Q&A or I should just speak first, or I just respond.
I think maybe it can help us to move faster and then be focused if we go on the questions. So I have the questions here. So I think you have already told us about your educational background. Then incidentally, I am from chemistry background as well. So
I don't know anything about that place anymore. So that's not good.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so how did you get into the media field, to the movie field? I mean, coming from chemistry and then accounting and now movie producing and so.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'd always try to follow through with my passion. So I identify my strength and I find a way of equipping myself and place myself in environments where I can find expression. One of my first passion was football. I was a very good footballer, or I am a very good footballer. Unfortunately, I did not explore that passion. So eventually, I just use it to keep fit now. Media has always been part of me. So I initially found expression in church, and then eventually it became a career path. I went to take some courses that are related. I started a media consulting outfit that provides media services to international NGOs, development agencies, basically. So because of that, I also went to take a course, went to a film school, took a course in the production and the business of film, with the intention of going to production. So that started technically the production journey for me.
Thank you very much. So now I'll go on to say, so now that you are in the, production space, so to say, is this a hobby or a main career for you?
All right, I think it's both.
Okay.
It's a passion, it's a hobby, but also it's a career and a business. And because I try to wear both hats, I follow what I love, and I find a way of making it productive in terms of financially rewarding. So yeah, it's a hobby because, like I said, I have a media outfit, an organization that provides media services, and it is something I love. So it's very, very easy. It's like fish in water. So when we execute, it's just seamless for me. And then I try to create a structure around the business conversation. But also in filmmaking, yes, it's a passion, but it's also business as well. So it's both for me. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So before we go too far in, I would like to ask you to elaborate on different career paths within this field. Because for the benefit of people on the call, and maybe we may have young people who are aspiring to some maybe career paths within the movie industry. There are different directions that people can go. Can you enlighten us a bit on the different opportunities available?
Okay, you went off a bit. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I was asking that before we go too far in, I would like you to enlighten us on the different career paths within the movie industry, so that people listening can know, okay, especially if we have young people who are trying to make a decision based on maybe their skill or their preferences, then they will know, okay, these are the opportunities available, these are the different directions I can go.
All right, great. So it's good to know that the movie industry in Nigeria, if I put in context, is the fastest growing in the world, right? I think it should be the second largest in the world, and it's growing rapidly. Bearing in mind that Nigeria seems to be the biggest Black nation in the world, and with the coming of platforms now, it's like the space is opening up. The competition is. I was speaking with one of the big A-list actors yesterday. Of course, I manage her, so we're just speaking about the dynamics. So as I speak now, she has back to back. If I were trying to find a space in our schedule to fit a particular production, and it was very difficult to do that because people are churning out movies because the space is becoming more profitable as it were. So there are numerous career paths in the industry, and it's becoming a bit more structured and more rewarding as it were, because platforms are coming with heavy investment, and it's going to be consistent because those platforms have to have those content consistent. So there's no better time to jump into the space than now, and it's becoming a bit more professional. Before now, it's a space you come in and you learn on the job, and you pick one or two things maybe from your area of strength you need to develop. Yeah, that's still also a pathway, but I think the space is also rewarding professionals more now. So in terms of career path, there are so many of them, so I will just take a few of them, because in a typical set you can have up to like 70 to 100 people working at time on the production, and all of those people are busy doing something specialized for that particular production. So of course, one of the parts you can be a screenwriter. So let me start from where it all starts from. It always starts from a story. Somebody has to develop that story. So screenwriting is a part on its own. It's a course that you can take, right? On screenwriting is a specialty. Now, before now, a lot of stories, people just draft their stories and go and shoot. But now it's becoming a bit more professional. So professionals are needed. because you cannot be investing about 200, 300 million naira in a production and you don't get it right professionally in terms of written. It all starts and ends with a story. So screenwriting is one area. Then you have producing, the producer. The producer is like the number one man on the set. The producer is one that hires everybody. So coming a producer is a pathway, which of course is, you require a whole lot of skill set. You need to be a very good administrator, a good organizer, a good negotiator. You need to understand financing, time management, because you're going to be managing people, time, and budgets. All of this. Okay, then the other one, which is a bit on the technical side, is directing. The director, of course, I'm sure we all know great directors in the world. So that is also another path. It's also a professional skill set that you can study and pursue. Then, of course, acting. You can pursue a career in acting. Then cinematography. So there's a value chain in cinematography. You can become the director of photography for a movie, which is actually highly rewarding. And then with under cinematography, you have the gaffer. The gaffer is in charge, basically in charge of lighting, right? You know, the camera is like a lens. It's like your eye. If there's no light in this space, no matter how good your eye is, you will not see anything, right? So so there's a lot of technicality in managing that light to give you the kind of picture that you desire. So usually professionals are the ones that handle the lighting to create the mood for a particular scene. Okay, oh, that wasn't for me. Okay. So we have director of photography, which is called the DP technically in our field. Then you also have the sound guy, which is the sound. Of course, nobody here can watch a movie without the audio. So as good as the picture is, if you have a bad audio, you have a very terrible production. So sound also is a specialty that people get trained for and they function in that space, and it pays really well. I know this because most production, I pay all this. You have costume department, professional skill set. It requires a lot. You have to do script breakdown, you have to do mood board and all that, and then you have to manage scene by scene as the production goes on. You also have makeup and hair is also a specialty. Now, makeup and hair is not the same makeup that you do for weddings and co. You know, this is special. You know, the makeup artist has to understand the story. So you are constantly doing this makeup to get your actor in character. So it's a specialized skill set. And then you also need to, because when we film, we don't film linearly. You can, you have what we call a story day. So you can have your actor, probably she went to the market, right? And from the market, she came to our house. And from our house, she now went to our office. And she was wearing the same makeup. Now, so when you're filming, just to give a bit of background, so that this conversation will be a bit interesting. So when you're filming, so most times we can say, okay, today we're filming the house. All the events that happen in the house, we're filming all the things that happen in the house. And we know that on day 2 of the story, the actor came from the market to the house. So we have to film that scene that she entered the house with the same makeup and the same costume. Now, 6 days later, we're now going to the market. We're filming the market. Now, we know that the actor came to that market. From that market, she left for the house. Now, of course, with the same costume and makeup. So, makeup artists will have to reproduce the exact same makeup 6 days later that she was wearing. And if there was any smell, any sweat, that's where you have the continuity person there. It has to be exactly the same. So these are professional skill sets that are administered in the process and all that. So that is that. And then you have your assistant director. Assistant director is the AD, is a strong administrator, and is also highly involved in the filmmaking process. All right, in order to not take much of our time, I will just, then you have the editing, which is the post-production part of it. On the post-production parts, under the editing, you have the colorists, you have the visual effects experts, you have the sound design, and the list goes on and on. So yeah, some of these departments I've mentioned, they're like the head of department. These are, I want to focus on the high end, and then they have other experts that also work under them. It will be so much going into all of that. All right, I think I've responded a bit to that.
Yeah, thank you very much for behind the ear on that. And I will also want to, before we go too far from it, when you say these professions, they all pay well, and so I would like you to define what pay well looks like for the audience. Like a good actor, what's the average kind of pay that they receive? A good, a script writer, or maybe an average one, or someone who is just starting out. So this kind of positions, what's the kind of income that they get?
All right, thank you very much. Now, the industry is in layers, right? I'm sure for those of us that are familiar with the Nigerian film industry, you have the movies that are on African Magic, you have the movies that are on Iroko TV, you have the movies that are on Netflix, you have the movies on Amazon. Where else? You have movies on YouTube. There are movies, people trying out content now on YouTube, and all of that. Now, and the pay structure at this level is different, right? So, well, I'm fortunate to find myself at the high end. So we do more of the high end, high budget movies, Netflix for cinemas and all of that. Typically, like you mentioned, an actor. Now it depends. You have the A-list actor, you have the B-list, you have the C, you have the Z-list, and you can grow. It can grow in the ranks and rise up to the A-list with the right tutorship, right on location, right training. You can grow and become an A-list. You can even start as an A-list actor. So now actors pay. I'll give you an example. There's an actor that I will not want to mention her name. Maybe I should not talk about her. Okay, let me just give an example, a general example. Yeah, an actor can do, depending on the actor, can come for 2 days and earn 10 million on 2 days shoot. Now, usually a shoot in a film is like shoot can range from 20 days to 30 days shoot. Now in those 20 days, you have different actors and the different days that they film in. So typically, so actors do multiple projects. Actors do multiple projects, right, at the same time. So if I want to make it like a monthly pay, so a very smart actor can do 2-3 projects in a month, because in these projects he just has. So typically, from actors pay can range from $1 million to 10 million, like I said, and sometimes that pay they earn it multiple times in a month. Producer, depending on the strata you are producing from, I will not say I have so much information on the African Magic space, right? But maybe even in that space, you can earn as much as 500,000 for a project. Then on the high end, you're talking about from 2-3 million above, and then up to 10 million, depending on the project. And it's growing now because of the coming of platforms. For the DP, if you're a very good director of photography, briefly, sometimes their rates is per day. Some do 200,000 naira a day. So I'm talking about film now. So if it's a 10-day shoot, they're telling you 2 million and thereabouts. If it's 30 days, you can go as high as 4 million. But of course, the more the number of days, the lesser the rates per day. right? That is negotiated. Also, for screenwriting, we're presently working on a series, a limited series for a platform. I would not like to mention the name of the platform. The screenwriting, we're doing about 300 per episode, just for the screenwriter, right? So if you're doing like 6 episodes, that's like 1.8, right? And of course, some of these things, the projects that we're also working on, the screenwriter, because he's an A-list, he was paid about 4.5 million to develop that story. So yeah, the pay range depends on also the project and the person that is being hired, how experienced you are, your considered experience, and how experienced. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So now you have referred to platforms that are coming up a number of times, and then for someone who is not in the space, who doesn't understand how it works, let me say someone like me, when I see all the thousands of movies on YouTube these days, the first thing that comes to my mind is these are all free for us to watch. Where do they make money from, other than maybe adverts on YouTube, which I'm not sure it delivers much?
Okay, thank you very much. Now, that is another space that is fast growing, YouTube content. So YouTube content, the YouTube pays, right? YouTube pays once you commercialize the page.
Yeah.
So once you build your following, I think to about 1,000, it now becomes a commercial space. So what people do now is to begin to churn out content on that space, and then build the subscription base. Once it grows, it now becomes a source of revenue. And you know that to film content for YouTube is less expensive, because to film for the big screen. Now, when your movie goes on the big screen, the image it will blow out. It's a massive screen. So there are specific types of equipment that must be used for it to go on the big screen. So the budget for the production just becomes high, because what happens is that there are specific types of cameras that must be used, this type of lighting that must be used to get the kind of output that is desired. And then also specific skill sets that can manage those equipment, right? And that is why I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So as the production, so for the higher productions, the equipment you need are bigger because it's going on the big screen. For also Netflix and platform, there are specific equipment averagely that people use, from the Red to the ARRI in terms of the cameras, and those cameras requires heavy lighting and high-end professionals to run those equipment. So it becomes high budget. But for YouTube, you can use your average Canon. Some people even shoot with their phones, right? And they churn out this content, because most people that consume those contents just watch it on their phone, they watch it on their devices, so you don't blow it out. Because once you blow out the image, you begin to see what we call grains. It becomes pixelated. But with those slower content, you can use your average Canon cameras here, and not so much lighting, and you shoot content and you put it in that space, and it can generate a whole lot of revenue. So yeah, some even big actors are beginning to do that too, as a side hustle, to turn out these contents.
Okay, thank you. So now I want to go on to a young person who is aspiring to build a career in this space. What, especially if you don't know someone that knows someone that knows someone, how can they get in? What's the way for young people who have nobody, no sponsor?
Yeah, young person aspiring to be in the space. Like I said, there are different strategies. Number one, get trained, right? Get training, because you should get trained. Get the skill set required. So when you find yourself in the space, because the space is a very small circle, especially at the top, right? You find yourself in the space and you deliver excellently, you'll be retained straight away. Then number two, get your leg in the door. Unfortunately, you might still need to know somebody that knows somebody. In a way, you can come in and intern. You come in as an intern, or many productions take interns, and so interning will give you the opportunity to really observe the industry, observe the various departments. Unfortunately, sometimes what is taught in class is different from what you see. You can come into a particular space and just feel like, this one, I don't think I can do this one. Fair to go in the area of directing and all of that. So come in as an intern, and from there, you just begin to go in the ranks. Submit yourself to some form of mentorship. You want to be in that space. Your mentor will guide you, will help you to identify align your skill set to spaces available in the industry, because that's very, very critical, because it's a very, very broad space. Because most people are creative, once you feel you are creative, I have all of these ideas, and you just feel that, okay, I should go and be a director. Maybe not. Maybe you're seeing, when you look at pictures, you're seeing things from the eye of a director of photography. So it's a mentor that will say, okay, I think your skill set is skewed toward this area, get trained in this area and all of that. So I think those two bits. And then, of course, if you have resources, plan to become an executive producer, right? That's one open door that you don't need anybody's permission. So the executive producer is one that funds the project. So you can decide to get the training, and if you have the funding, and come into the space and work with an experienced hand and begin to churn out for profit. So you're doing what you love, you're passionate about it, or you're producing and you are making a whole lot of money, and you're employing a whole lot of people. Yeah, so I hope I've answered.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think I will also want to go, since we have talked about young people trying to come in. Now you have addressed something or started addressing something that I wanted to ask again. We have people on the call who already are established in their careers. So I want you to address two questions concerning them. One, if someone has a career going for them, and then they feel like they still have this passion to get in the creative space, and they would like maybe once in a while be part of something, or part-time, act part-time, or script write part-time, or whatever it is, they want to do something part-time. How does that work? Secondly, for someone who has money and they are interested in maybe becoming executive producer, which you say, it's open to everyone. They have the fund and they are looking for something to invest in. And you have already told us that this field is growing very fast, and there are a lot of opportunities there. How can someone go in to say, yes, I want to become an executive producer?
All right. So for the first one, I have a career, and I want to get into the space. So technically, I would say I'm in that space, right? Because I speak to you. Filmmaking is not the only thing I do. I run. There are 3 business companies, registered companies that I run. Right, one of them is in tech. The other one is in tech, education in tech. Then the third one is media. It's a media outfit. But in that space, you do beyond just filmmaking. You also do other aspects like documentaries, filming documentaries, and so when I go in as a producer, most times I'm not going in the name of a company. I'm going as an individual. Right? Companies running separately. But I also understand for somebody that does a 9 to 5, for instance, how do you function in that space? Yes. So you just identify a field in the space that can fit into your own special case. If it's acting usually runs on schedule, right? They give you the date you're going to be filming. You can make yourself available for those dates. Go back to your work. If you need to be on a set, you can take some days off and be on a set. It's all about how you manage your time and your priority. Then for executive producing, yes, it is. So how do you start? You just get an experienced and trusted producer, right, to guide through the process. Starting from, of course, like I say, it always starts from the money, right? How will this money come back? This is one of the big questions. When you get to the story, so you want your investment to be safe. You want to guarantee. And the beautiful thing now, why I say the space is blooming now, is because the platforms give you a guarantee. The challenge you used to have before now is distribution. So you make a film, and before it comes out, it's already out. Before it comes out officially, it's already out. Somebody has put it out there, and everybody's seeing it. Of course, you don't make money out of that. But with the platforms now, the platform buys out outrightly. Sometimes they do originals. Sometimes they buy it off you, and it's with them for it's more like a rental. So for the next 3 years, you cannot use it anywhere else except on this platform. And after that, you still have your content to take to other platforms, another distribution channel. So your DSTV, for instance, is also a distribution channel. Where people don't do DVD anymore. YouTube is also a channel. You cannot take it there. So there are layers of revenue that you begin to earn as you go on. I have a friend, a very big director in the country, while we were on set filming, and he just told me, he just received $10,000 for a film he shot years back, right? So one of the platforms just picked it up as a story, and he's earning money from something he did years back. So yeah, so as an executive producer, once you have the funding, it's just assemble the right team that will work with you to drive the process. You begin to see how you can turn around that funds. And our advice that you what's it called? You create a structure and a brand, right? And you can now ride, so that you get to a place where the platform can ask, okay, you see that you have capacity and you're good. We now want to fund you to do X, Y, Z. And those funding is usually money. All right.
Okay, thank you very much. I will want to ask something personal now, before I start to allow people on the call to ask their questions. So now, anyone wanting to come in, whether as a young person or someone who is looking for something part-time, or someone who has money who wants to come in as an investor, every one of them needs someone to help them find their way in. Do you think this is something that you can do for anyone on the call today who may want something like that? Can we reach out to you?
Oh, yeah. Well, of course. Personally, I'm somebody that's big on seeing how I can guide people. But I will be very, very blunt and sincere. I only work with serious-minded people. That's the truth. I'm serious-minded in the sense that if you say you want to do this, then do it. If you are so, provide all the support and be sincere with you that, okay, I don't feel you're cut out for this and all of that, or this is what you should do. So why not, if we can, we definitely will be able to provide whatever support is required within the capacity no one has. Yeah.
It's okay. Thank you very much.